From the story falling apart with each new season to the cast wanting the show to end already, this is why Stranger Things should have ended seasons ago. We are now waiting for the penultimate fifth and final season of the 80s futuristic horror Netflix series. And though many fans are anxious to see how Eleven and her friends beat Vecna and the Upside Down, they can't help but think how the show would have been so much better if it ended way earlier. Netflix has now made Stranger Things its brand and most prized asset because, since its first episode in 2016, it has become one of the most popular shows on the streaming platform. Season 1 was a blast from start to end and gave people a fresh new story, with adorable characters full of life and energy. After the first season, the plot thickened and the universe expanded when the show teased something more sinister in the Upside Down. In an attempt to make everything more interesting, the Duffer Brothers thought adding a bunch of new characters would do the job, but failed to consider the fact that they'd have to give each one a backstory of some sort. This led to each season having a common trend and a repetitive plot that has officially lost a good chunk of the fanbase's interest. Why's that? Well, each season follows the same blueprint. Some people are even calling Stranger Things the MCU of Netflix shows, but that's probably because it's gotten so mainstream. There's now an ongoing meme of how the average season of the show takes place. Will gets possessed, a CGI monster from the Upside Down threatens Hawkins, Eleven raises her hand like Darth Vader and screams, she passes out, and hooray! The world is saved. Again, it looks like Stranger Things has lost its once beloved spark, which included themes and inspiration from the 80s, only for it to be dragged on and on with nothing new to offer. The first season had it all: comedy, action, a story, and awesome characters with the cutest chemistry we've seen on screen. 4 seasons later, it's gotten to the point where we have to sit through another season because of these characters. I mean, I'm pretty sure I say this for everyone, but we're all so attached to Mike Wheeler and his friends that it would feel like we're abandoning our family if we don't tune in for the final season. The sky-high viewership made the Duffer Brothers think that they could get away with Season 4, which had the one thing everyone found insane. 'Cause let's face it, there was no reason for the 4th season to be as long as it was. To save you the math, this was 9 episodes long, each with a runtime of an hour and a half. That's 9 movies. Does a show need something as long as the Harry Potter franchise to tell a story? Most of the complaints on the show started when Season 4 dropped because of unnecessary backstories, tangents in plots, and the awfully slow pacing. You know the episode I'm talking about, Hopper's Ark in Russia. Remember the good old days when a season was just 8 episodes long, an hour each? The story was well-paced too, and the finale where each character's storylines fell in place together felt so natural. Nothing felt out of place and unnecessary. And this was the case for the next season too. Sure, adding new characters each season was a good thing, but fans realized that nothing special would happen except for shock value. And of course, the eventual emotional death in the season finale. Yes, Alexi, I'm talking about you. So, the whole shock value that the show is thriving on will shine brightest in the 5th season, because this is when the main character dies. No more supporting characters getting the spotlight for a few episodes, just so that fans can get attached to them and the showrunners can write them off. Bob, Alexi, Billy, and the fan favorite Eddie Munson are all beginning to feel like the same character in retrospect. Though the Duffer Brothers confirmed that there won't be new characters being introduced, and the runtime will be way less than the previous Harry Potter length season, it's too little too late. If this energy was saved for the 3rd season, then fans would have been as excited as before, because if you were to look at how long the breaks between seasons are, you'd be shocked at how much time it's taking them to wrap it up. Season 4 aired in 2022, 3 years after the 3rd, with a 2-month-long hiatus before the last 2 episodes. See what I mean by shock value? 2024 is right around the corner, and you won't believe that they haven't even started filming Season 5 yet. Okay, the SAG-AFTRA strike was largely to blame, but needing almost a decade to shoot 5 seasons is crazy. All that for weaker storylines, repetitive plots, and predictable scenarios? Bring back the OG Stranger Things, please. You want to know what the perfect time to pull the plug? Season 3. A few tweaks around in the story here and there, and the show would have been a masterpiece in the Netflix Hall of Fame. Hopper's death would have been the tear-jerker moment in the finale, and Eleven moving in with Joyce was a fitting end to her story, especially after such an emotional season where we saw more of her relationship with Hopper. If this were the case, none of us would have to sit through an agonizingly long fourth season and wait an even more agonizingly long time to get the epic conclusion. The worst part? This makes it even worse for a lot of us because we basically grew up with this cast. Now, this isn't always a good thing. You see, Stranger Things was a huge success back in 2016 because of its lovable cast. Its lovable, young cast. And the problem with relying on an ensemble like that is that they lose their charm over the years. Not every child actor grows up to be Leonardo DiCaprio. Being in your 20s and still trying to pass as a middle and high schooler doesn't really work well in the 21st century. Think of it like this: Finn Wolfhard will be around 22 when the series finale airs. He was 13 when season 1 premiered. 13! Don't get me started with how actors grow tired of doing the same thing over and over again. Just look at the MCU cast, using up all these prime years to star in a show that's slowly dying and will probably have an underwhelming conclusion, just for you to stop getting calls from other projects as soon as it's over. Forget Steve Harrington's perfect hair. I'd be surprised if his hairline hasn't started receding by now. Just look at how great the cast looked together in season 1, and Eleven's character was perfect for 12-year-old Millie Bobby Brown to tackle. Now that she'll be what, 21? Would it not feel weird for her to talk as slowly as her character does? Besides, Millie herself revealed that she can't wait for Stranger Things to end. Compared to the first season, everything was running perfectly for her. She and her friends were Hollywood's favorite new kids on the scene, and there's no denying that she had a great time touring with her friends. But as she grew older, the fame affected most of her confidence, and she also feels that the series is holding her back from so many opportunities. Brown described her experience with the 5th season as a senior year and wants to be over with it as soon as possible. This interview was taken in October 2023, and I'm starting to feel bad because there's still quite a bit of time till they start officially shooting, meaning that a good chunk of 2024 will be off the table for Millie and any project she was looking forward to. Fans wonder how different everything would have been if the series ended a few seasons ago, when the cast was still young and the plot still made sense. Speaking of, fans have brought up a ton of plot holes in the show, which seems more like something used to get on with the story. Take all the inconsistencies in the characters' personalities, prime example, Robin. But that's far from the point, and I'd just be rambling on and on if I started talking about that. The fact that Millie, the face of the show, wants everything to be over with ASAP just proves that this has been going on for far too long. The Duffer Brothers are talented and have given us an instant classic, that's for sure. But everyone hoped for things to end a while ago, back when everything was still nice and fresh. Maybe pushing a decade-long series is worth it, or perhaps it'll just be another Game of Thrones in the making. It looks like we'll have to wait another year to see for ourselves. And so, from the cast wanting the show to end already, to the story falling apart with each new season, that was why Stranger Things should have ended seasons ago